This is not getting discussed on the mainstream media. Not only are they wrong legally, but the fact that they would do this is outrageous. This is an overreaction and really nonsense. How would you react if this was your son or your daughter? It's the offense of knowing the truth. It's the offense of having an alternate worldview. Saying God bless you to someone is not a violation of the law.
Welcome to the broadcast, everyone. We're thrilled our television audience is here with us. We're going to be talking about the situation in Planned Parenthood. Take a listen to this.
What we are discussing here is in the event that a human being is born and in need of medical care, what do we do?
If a baby is born on a table as a result of a botched abortion, what would Planned Parenthood want to have happen to that child that's struggling for life?
We believe that any decision that's made should be left up to the woman, her family, and the physician.
What happens in a situation where a baby is alive, breathing on a table, moving? What do your physicians do at that point?
I do not have that information. I am not a physician. I'm not an abortion provider.
I understand that you're not a physician, but you do represent
Yes.
physicians who do perform this activity. And can you tell me what happens when a baby is alive on the table? At that point, what do they do with the baby that is struggling to live?
Well, we don't know even how prevalent this situation is.
I don't know how else I can get an answer, Mr. Chairman.
You stated that a baby born on a table as a result of a botched abortion, that decision should be left to the doctor and the family. Is that what you're saying?
That decision should be between the patient and the healthcare provider.
I think that at that point, the patient would be the child struggling on a table. Wouldn't you agree?
That's a very good question. I really don't know how to answer that. I think, I would be glad to have some more, conversations with you about this.
What objection could you possibly have to obligate a doctor to transport a child born alive to a hospital, where it seems to me they would be most likely to be able to survive?
What about this, and I'm just speaking out loud here, what about those situations where it's in a rural healthcare setting, the hospital is 45 minutes, an hour away, that's the closest trauma center, emergency room. There's just some logistical issues involved that we've got some concerns about.
Who cares if it's a rural health clinic? If there's a baby born that's struggling, we ought to do, I think that's every right for us to intervene if we have to make sure that struggling child survives. And to say that we're inserting politics in it is just ludicrous. This is just, again, like Representative Davis says, I can't imagine that we're having this conversation. It's a great bill, and I look forward to supporting it.
What you're saying, if you oppose it, is you have a living baby struggling to survive, and you do something other. I don't even want to talk about what you do, but you do something other than resuscitate and save the baby. And I would urge your support of this bill. It makes total sense. I congratulate the sponsor.
Boy, I've been pro-choice my whole life, and I can't think of a more sensible bill in this regard. So I'll cut it short, and I'll support the bill. Thank you.
We have been bringing you the information that came out of Florida last week in a hearing involving an Infants Born Alive Protection Act, similar to what's already on the books in Florida, and the outrageous statement by the representative from Florida affiliate Planned Parenthood. And she stated, and I'm going to play this again for everybody because this is the language we're focusing on. She was specifically asked the question, when a baby is born alive, what happens if the abortion was going forward, but the baby's born alive? What happens? Number two, this is Representative Jim Boyd, And again, the response is by Planned Parenthood Representative Alicia Snow.
It's just really hard for me to even ask you this question because I'm almost in disbelief. If a baby is born on a table as a result of a botched abortion, what would Planned Parenthood want to have happen to that child that's struggling for life?
You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, we believe that any decision that's made should be left up to the woman, her family, and the physician.
So the child is alive, struggling for life, and Planned Parenthood wants to be able to do nothing. And by the way, President Barack Obama, when he was state senator of Illinois, we're going to have this sound for you in a little bit, he took the same position. No other doctor coming in to render emergency care, that it was an abortion intended, and the fact that there was a born-alive infant doesn't change the equation. Folks, we're fighting back on this, and this is where you come in. 145,000 of you have already joined with us. We've got a committee going right now opposing these abortion pill mandates, going after Planned Parenthood, defending religious liberty. It's ACLJ.org or 1-877-989-2255, 877-989-2255. Take action right now.
The American Center for Law and Justice is at the forefront of a significant legal challenge, the HHS mandate that forces employers to provide coverage for abortion-producing drugs in their insurance policies for employees, even if it violates their religious beliefs. The ACLJ has filed multiple lawsuits directly challenging this unprecedented attack on the religious and conscience rights of Americans. And the ACLJ is experiencing tremendous success. The ACLJ has a perfect record in obtaining court-ordered injunctions, putting the HHS mandate on hold while the issue is litigated. At the same time, the ACLJ is supporting other legal challenges by filing amicus briefs. Now you can join the legal fight too. Sign on to our committee opposing the mandate, a committee that will be included in our future amicus briefs. Call 1-877-989-2255. That's 1-877-989-2255, or you can add your name online, aclj.org.
Hey, welcome back to the broadcast, everyone. We are playing for you the sound, and I'm glad our television audience is here on this Planned Parenthood situation in Florida, where they're saying if an infant is born alive, that no medical necessity would require the doctor to intervene to save that unborn child's life. The representative from Planned Parenthood, Alicia Snow, was pressed on this pretty heavy at the Florida hearing. Let me play for you number 5. This is Representative Jose Olivier. He asked the question of who becomes the patient once the baby's born alive. Listen to number 5.
You stated that a baby born on a table as a result of a botched abortion, that decision should be left to the doctor and the family. Is that what you're saying?
That decision should be between the patient and the healthcare provider.
I think that at that point, the patient would be the child struggling on a table. Wouldn't you agree?
That's a very good question. I really don't know how to answer that.
Well, let me give you the answer to that. Planned Parenthood opposed the legislation that would mandate medical care for that child and having that child sent over to an emergency room. Planned Parenthood today is still objecting to this, folks, and we're funding this organization with our taxpayer dollars. So here's what we want to do. We've got a committee up, and 145,000 of you have already signed on. If you're outraged by this, which you should be, these are children born alive, and Planned Parenthood saying no medical care and opposing the legislation, and we're funding them, that should stop today. We're challenging them in court. We want you to join this committee to fight against this HHS mandate, to fight against Planned Parenthood, and to stand up for religious liberty. It's aclj.org or 1-877-989-2255. That's 877-989-2255. And folks, I'm going to take a call here from number 2, from Cletus, who's got a question, because we're going to be able to play for you a statement that President Obama made. Go ahead, Cletus.
President Obama is now saying that because that child's alive and on the table, that we should just go ahead and slit its throat.
Well, no, here's what he's saying. Don't provide medical care or leave it up to the abortionist to provide that care, which is ridiculous because the abortionists are not going to provide the care. In fact, better this. Let me give you the president in his own words. This is in April 4th, 2002. He was a member of the state Senate. There was a bill up that was basically a Born Alive Infant Protection Act. President Obama, now then State Senator Obama, voted against it. And here's what he had to say.
I suspect that doctors feel that they would be under that obligation, that they would already be making these determinations, and that essentially adding an additional doctor who then has to be called in an emergency situation to come in and make these assessments is really designed simply to burden the original decision of the woman and the physician to induce labor and perform an abortion.
Really? I mean, think about what he just said for a moment, folks. He doesn't want another doctor called in to save the life of the unborn child. He's going to trust the abortionist to do it. And then he even says, of course, the original decision was to abort. Now, there's a guy on trial right now in Philadelphia named Gosnell, and 8 counts against him, including killing children born alive that survived the abortion. And Jordan was describing the gruesome nature of what went on there. It is unbelievable. All this happening simultaneously. And ready for this? HHS just gave the Orlando Planned Parenthood $2.5 million extra dollars. $2.5 million extra dollars as a reward for their bad activity, I guess. And you know who's paying for that? You and me. Jordan, you were talking about this doctor, Gosnell in Pennsylvania, that was unbelievable. This is a doctor of death who had human baby body parts throughout his house, his office. He's on trial right now for murder, as he should be. But this goes to show you, and how Planned Parenthood's still getting funding to me with this new evidence is unbelievable.
And they were calling him the latest of late-term abortions. He's on trial again for murder in Philadelphia. They have concluded that the woman, the cause of death for her was murder because this doctor was allowing his assistants, who were not even had the proper qualifications, of course, to give serious medication out, and this medication led to someone's death. When they went through his office to review, there were baby parts in the refrigerator, baby parts in cat food containers. Now, I know this is gruesome, folks. How about this? Jars and jars of feet, different feet from different babies all over through. I mean, these are sick people. This is serial killer-esque. If it was, if this was not a preborn baby's feet, but instead was a 1-year-old's feet, then this person would be up for the death penalty long ago. But think about that slim difference between what he is getting in trouble for, which is a woman's death, and what they're finding there. And you have to start wondering, asking Planned Parenthood, what do you think about this? Does it matter to you if abortion is kept, preborn babies' feet around in their offices? Or is that just a medical science to them? I think about that. There's something wrong here, and the fact that we are funding it, that we are subsidizing it, it just makes it that much more sick. Yeah. And we know this is the kind of individuals that were involved in the early days of abortion. This is who wanted it so badly to be legalized.
I'm going to play for you bite number 17. This is Elisa Hogue. She is the president of NARAL. Folks, she's blaming these doctors' actions, the situation in Florida, on you and me. Take a listen.
That seems to be a fact that the GOP extremists that are introducing these bills have forgotten. And they are what I call constitutional situationalists. They defend it to its core when it serves their purpose, but they're all too happy to throw it out when they want to shove women back to the Middle Ages. And, it just won't stand. It doesn't stand the logic test.
Now, what doesn't stand the logic test is Planned Parenthood getting our money while they are telling people in testimony before committees in Florida state legislature that basically, if the child's born alive, the child's born alive, too bad. That child gets no protection. Folks, this is an outrage to say the least. Listen to number 7.
Does Planned Parenthood have an objection to a doctor being obligated to provide advanced life support in an abortion clinic setting to a child born alive? I mean, I guess you do, or you wouldn't be here, right?
Let me just pause and say where our opposition remains. Okay, maybe that can answer some questions. We have serious concerns about the surrender wording in this. The second piece is, as you all discussed earlier, was the transport to the hospital.
Why would you object to the transport to a hospital of a child born alive that needs emergency medical care because he survived a botch or she survived a botched abortion? Inexcusable, folks. ACLJ.org or 1-877-989-2255 to join our committee, standing up for life, going to court against these barbarians, and that's what they are. ACLJ.org or 1-877-989-2255. Jordan, let's take another call.
Yep, Lynn in Missouri on line 3. Lynn, welcome to Sekulow Live.
Hi, Lynn.
Thank you. Hi, how are you?
Good.
Thank you very much for taking my call.
Sure.
I have kind of a question. How come it's a double capital murder charge when a woman that's pregnant is killed in an accident?
Right.
And Planned Parenthood does. I don't understand. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you get, and if a woman is killed in an intentional act and she's pregnant, it's a double homicide. And that's because there's an abortion distortion factor. The rules change when it's abortion. This question, by the way, the idea is that the unborn child is a person, which makes sense to us, but it does not make sense to NARAL. Listen to number 16. The head of NARAL has asked the question about personhood, the child being a person. Here's her response.
Elise, are personhood bills on the rise?
Well, we're seeing them pop up here and there. And the thing is, what we know as women is that we are people, and we will fight for our choices. We will fight to make them with our families and with our doctors, which is our right guaranteed in the Constitution.
Really? So they don't want the child recognized as a person. We're going to take more of your calls and be joined by Chris Smith when we come back from the break, folks. But as I go to this break right now, I need everybody that's listening to go to ACLJ.org or call us right now at 1-877-989-2255. I'm thrilled our television cameras are here as well, too. We'll get some of this up on air as well on the website. ACLJ.org or 1-877-989-2255. Enough with Planned Parenthood and our money. ACLJ.org to sign on to that committee or 1-877-989-2255. That's 877-989-2255 or ACLJ.org.
The American Center for Law and Justice is at the forefront of a significant legal challenge, the HHS mandate that forces employers to provide coverage for abortion-producing drugs in their insurance policies for employees, even if it violates their religious beliefs. The ACLJ has filed multiple lawsuits directly challenging this unprecedented attack on the religious and conscience rights of Americans. And the ACLJ is experiencing tremendous success. The ACLJ has a perfect record in obtaining court-ordered injunctions, putting the HHS mandate on hold while the issue is litigated. At the same time, the ACLJ is supporting other legal challenges by filing amicus briefs. Now you can join the legal fight too. Sign on to our committee opposing the mandate, a committee that will be included in our future amicus briefs. Call 1-877-989-2255. That's 1-877-989-2255, or you can add your name online, aclj.org.
Hey, welcome back to the broadcast, everyone. I had a chance to sit down and talk with Congressman Chris Smith. Actually came into our studios in Washington, D.C. just a few minutes before we went on air. Let me play for you right now some of that. But before I do, let me also urge you to join with over 145,000, I'm happy to say, Americans that are saying, we're not going to fund Planned Parenthood anymore. We're done. We don't like what they're doing in Florida. We don't like what they're doing with born-alive children. We don't like their answers. We don't like what they're doing with the HHS mandate. You can go to aclj.org. Easy way to sign it, aclj.org, or 1-877-989-2255. Take a listen to my interview. This will be about 3 minutes with Congressman Chris Smith. Congressman, we've been playing this on radio this week. Here you've got the baby survives the attempted murder and the abortion. He's alive or she's alive on the table, and Planned Parenthood's position is that's between the woman, her family, and the physician. And by the way, even with their clarifying statement, they're still opposed to the bill, which would protect that child. Your sense and your feeling about this and where you see this going?
Well, frankly, it's outrageous, but not surprising. It's shocking, but again, not surprising. Planned Parenthood is directly responsible for 6 million unborn babies who have been killed in their clinics, an untold number who perhaps even survived for a very short period of time. There was an undercover sting operation done by Students for Life in 2008, and an abortion clinic, Planned Parenthood, in my district, in Freehold, and there on camera, the Planned Parenthood representative is talking about the fact that this is after the Born Alive Act, federal legislation went into law, that, the children die. She didn't call, of course, she said baby. after 22 weeks, 23 weeks, but it takes a little time sometimes because the woman must go through the actual birth process, and it sometimes results in a live birth. No concern, no empathy, no compassion whatsoever for that struggling infant. I have called, and I've said it on the floor, and I say it repeatedly. Planned Parenthood is Child Abuse Incorporated. There is a reckless disregard for the unborn child. Right. There is a reckless disregard for the newborn child. And we've seen that. They were against the legislation on partial birth abortion. They are against virtually every proposal that has ever been pushed by the pro-life side to protect the sanctity of a child's life or of a newborn.
We've got 7 cases going on right now against the HHS mandate. 6 have been litigated to injunction stage. We've obtained injunctions in all 6. The most recently, the D.C. Court of Appeals initially ruled against us. We requested a rehearing en banc, and the original panel reversed themselves and issued the injunction. But I've said, Congressman, that Obamacare was the largest abortion-providing bill in U.S. history, that this is basically it's a bailout for the abortion industry. And the president tried to deny it, but when you read the bill, it's there, and we know what we're paying for in the insurance and these mandates. So this becomes the most significant increase in abortion paid for by taxpayers that disagree.
Jay, the exchanges, as you know so well, which come online in 2014, will include publicly funded abortion. And it does it outside the scope of the Hyde Amendment, the Medicaid ban on abortion, all the other bans that are still in effect. What Obamacare did was create a separate pool of funding and a whole new mechanism to fund insurance policies. So there will be a publicly funded abortion scheme in virtually every state that adopts this. And over time, if it's not repealed, it will be every state. Public subsidy, as Planned Parenthood itself tells us, leads to more abortions. The Guttmacher Institute, which used to be affiliated with Planned Parenthood and a pro-abortion think tank and research arm, and I think their information is skewed very often, but they nevertheless have said that something like a quarter of the abortions, 25% of the abortions, don't occur because there is not a publicly funded subsidy there to facilitate that abortion.
I'm going to tell you this, folks. We are fighting for life here, and we're winning. We've got 7 cases against Planned Parenthood right now in this HHS mandate, and the good news is this. Well, the 6 that have been litigated, we've gotten injunctions in. There's one more that's still pending. We even got the D.C. Court of Appeals to reverse themselves. They initially ruled against us, then they reversed themselves. And I will tell you, when they reversed themselves, and this is the significance of this, I believe that it was miraculous that God intervened, because it's rare that you get a Court of Appeals panel to reverse themselves. They did. So we're thrilled with that. But again, we're fighting back at ACLJ.org, or if not, you could call us and join this committee, Standing for Life, at 1-877-989-2255. That's ACLJ.org or 877-989-2255. Let's go get another phone call, Jordan.
Roger in New York, online for Roger. Welcome to Jay Sekulow Live.
Hi, Roger.
Glad to be here. Here's the thing, and I looked at the interview on the internet.
Yes.
This woman in front of this committee, and the question occurred to me quick as a flash. Right on the heels of the question, the baby's on the table. And I said, okay, the baby has been aborted. It's on the table. It's alive. Now, could you please tell me what method the people of Planned Parenthood prescribe for the doctor to use to terminate this baby that's now alive on the table?
Well, I don't know what they would do, but not providing medical help is one of the things. You don't provide medical care for a child that survived a botched abortion, that child's going to die. In the situation with Gosnell, Jordan, you've got the details on that. Again, it's gruesome, Roger. Let Jordan go over it with you. But this was a live case on trial right now while we've got the situation in Florida breaking. They keep saying it's rare, this is unusual. Really? There's a trial going on right now with a guy charged with 7 counts of murder. And Jordan, what did he do in that situation? It's pretty gruesome. We just put it up what it is.
Yeah, I mean, in this situation, you have someone who would literally kill the babies. So this doctor,
snipping their spinal
if you will.
cords with scissors.
Well, not even snipping. We're talking stabbing into their spinal cords with scissors and basically severing the spinal cord, snapping the spinal cord. These babies' body parts were found all around his home and office where he did these late-term abortions. And, his staff was not trained. I mean, it was a butcher of women, but also a butcher of babies, and had feet in jars all around, baby feet, cut off all around, had different parts of babies all over these different containers. I mean, this is in the legal report that comes out. It's horrific. And the fact is, this is what legalizing abortion and then having somebody in Florida who can't say what to do with a baby that has survived an abortion and what to do next, it all goes hand in hand.
Sure.
It's the culture of death. It's the culture of, well, we're so in charge that even when the baby's there breathing, we can kill it. Because we're a certain age. We're so much stronger. It's a women's rights issue now. I mean, give me a break. Even if you may be more sympathetic to some early term abortion, that's what this leads to. Because that's who's behind all the efforts.
Exactly.
Is the people who think that infanticide should be legal, that a doctor and the mother there could sit there and decide, you know what, we don't like this baby so much, let's get rid of it.
President Obama, when he was a state senator, said that he will not vote for a bill that would have provided additional protection for that unborn child, or that child that was born alive, actually, that it would be interfering with the abortion process. Those were his words. You got Gosnell, this abortionist in Pennsylvania that stabbed the spinal cords of children that were born alive to kill them. And then you got Florida saying we don't want a bill that would give mandatory protection to a child that survives an abortion. Well, that's going to do it for the broadcast today, folks. Let me encourage you to do this. We are standing for life in court, and we're winning. We've got over 150,000 people that have communicated with us and said, yes, we're going to stand with you in court. We're going to join this committee to defeat this HHS mandate, to stand against Planned Parenthood, to defend the life of the unborn child. You want to add your name to that committee, go to ACLJ.org. That's ACLJ.org. Or call us at 1-877-989-2255. That's ACLJ.org. Or 1-877-989-2255 to take a stand for life. Folks, in 7 cases that have been litigated, 6 have come to a conclusion. We've won all 6. 7th one is pending. And this is important, we are in court against Planned Parenthood directly. If you want to stand with us, and I encourage you to stand with us and 145, almost 150,000 other Americans standing for life, go to ACLJ.org or call us at 877-989-2255. We'll talk to you next week.
The American Center for Law and Justice is at the forefront of a significant legal challenge, the HHS mandate that forces employers to provide coverage for abortion-producing drugs in their insurance policies for employees, even if it violates their religious beliefs. The ACLJ has filed multiple lawsuits directly challenging this unprecedented attack on the religious and conscience rights of Americans. And the ACLJ is experiencing tremendous success. The ACLJ has a perfect record in obtaining court-ordered injunctions, putting the HHS mandate on hold while the issue is litigated. At the same time, the ACLJ is supporting other legal challenges by filing amicus briefs. Now you can join the legal fight too. Sign on to our committee opposing the mandate, a committee that will be included in our future amicus briefs. Call 1-877-989-2255. That's 1-877-989-2255, or you can add your name online, aclj.org.